A crowded train, hundreds of people staring down at glowing screens, thumbs scrolling, notifications flashing, videos playing, messages arriving. Nobody looks up, nobody speaks, nobody notices the world around them. Imagine having a superpower, a skill so valuable that it could help you learn faster, master difficult subjects, build a successful business, create extraordinary work, and achieve goals that seem impossible to others. Now imagine losing that superpower. Not overnight, but little by little, every day. One notification at a time, one scroll at a time, one distraction at a time. Because that's exactly what's happening to millions of people right now. We live in a world where attention has become the most valuable resource on earth. Social media companies want it. Advertisers want it. News organizations want it. Algorithms want it. And every morning, before most people even get out of bed, they willingly hand it over. One notification, one message, one video, one scroll, then another, and another, and another. The average person checks their phone dozens, sometimes hundreds of times every day. Not because they need to, because they've been trained to. And the consequences are far greater than most people realize. Because every interruption comes with a hidden cost. The ability to think deeply becomes weaker. The ability to learn becomes slower. The ability to create meaningful work begins to disappear. But here's the strange part. As focus becomes more rare, it becomes more valuable. In fact, one skill is quietly creating an enormous gap between ordinary people and extraordinary performers. The people who master this skill learn faster, solve problems better, build successful businesses, write books, create innovations, and accomplish more in a few focused hours than most people accomplish in an entire day. And here's what makes this so important. 5 years from now, two versions of you could exist. One version spends thousands of hours distracted, scrolling, switching, reacting, consuming. The other spends those same hours focused, learning, building, creating, mastering valuable skills. The difference between those two futures won't be talent. It won't be intelligence. It will be where your attention goes every day. That skill is called deep work. And according to author Cal Newport, it may be the single most valuable ability of the modern age. But if deep work is so powerful, why can so few people do it? Why are so many intelligent people trapped in a cycle of distraction? And how did some of history's greatest thinkers protect their minds from the noise of the world? To answer those questions, we first need to understand how the modern world stole our attention. Because once you see the problem, you'll never look at your phone, your habits, or your future the same way again. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Day We Lost Our Attention. Imagine waking up tomorrow. No phone, no social media, no notifications, no emails, no YouTube, no internet, just silence. How uncomfortable would that feel? For many people, extremely uncomfortable. And that's the problem. We've become addicted to stimulation. Every notification delivers a tiny reward. Every scroll promises something new. Every refresh offers another hit of novelty. The brain learns to crave it. Over time, concentration becomes harder. Not because we're lazy, not because we lack discipline, because we've trained ourselves to be distracted. A generation ago, boredom was normal. People waited in line and simply waited. They sat on buses and looked out the window. They walked without headphones. Their minds had space to wander, space to think, space to imagine. Today, even 10 seconds of silence can feel uncomfortable. The moment boredom appears, we reach for a screen, a phone, a video, a notification, anything to fill the silence. And without realizing it, we are training ourselves to avoid deep thought. Researchers have repeatedly found that task switching damages performance. When you move from one task to another, part of your attention remains attached to the previous activity. This phenomenon is called attention residue. Your body may be working on the new task, but part of your mind remains somewhere else. Reading an email while thinking about a meeting, working on a project while wondering who texted you, trying to focus while social media waits one click away. The result? Lower quality thinking, more mistakes, slower progress, greater mental fatigue. Researchers call this attention residue. But the cost is larger than most people realize. Every interruption forces the brain to reload information, like restarting a computer over and over again. The more often we switch tasks, the harder it becomes to produce our best work. And yet most people spend their entire day in this state. Email, message, meeting, notification, social media, back to work. Another notification, another interruption. The cycle never ends. The strange thing is that distraction feels productive. It feels busy. It feels like work. But busyness and productivity are not the same thing. History tells a very different story. The greatest breakthroughs in science, business, literature, and philosophy did not emerge from constant interruption. They emerged from long periods of uninterrupted concentration. And one man understood this problem long before smartphones existed. He believed great ideas required protection from distraction. So he built a stone tower far away from the noise of the world, a place where he could finally think. His name was Carl Jung. Lesson: distraction is not a lack of discipline. It is a habit created by constant stimulation. Every time you switch tasks, your brain pays a cognitive cost. The ability to focus is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. Task for the next 24 hours. Keep a tally mark every time you check your phone. Do not change your behavior. Just observe. At the end of the day, count the total number. You may be surprised by the result. Challenge: spend 30 consecutive minutes tomorrow without social media notifications, messaging apps, internet browsing. Focus on one meaningful task only. No multitasking. No checking your phone. No interruptions. Then ask yourself, was it harder than you expected or easier? Comment below with the number of times you checked your phone today. Chapter 2. Carl Jung's Tower. In the early 20th century, a young psychiatrist named Carl Jung was trying to understand some of the deepest mysteries of the human mind. His work demanded concentration, reflection, deep thinking. But there was a problem. His life was filled with interruptions. Patients arrived every day. Letters piled up on his desk. Colleagues wanted meetings. Friends wanted conversations. The demands never stopped. And Jung noticed something important. His best ideas never appeared during moments of chaos. They appeared during moments of solitude, when the noise disappeared, when the interruptions stopped, when his mind finally had enough space to think. Most people would have accepted the situation. Jung didn't. He understood that his greatest ideas would never emerge from a distracted mind. He believed great ideas deserved protection. He believed important thinking required isolation. And so he made a radical decision. In 1922, Jung began building a stone retreat on the shores of Lake Zurich, a place known as Bollingen Tower. There was no telephone, no office, no endless stream of information, no social obligations, just thick stone walls, nature, silence, and time to think. Inside that tower, Jung spent long periods reading, writing, reflecting, and exploring ideas. Many of the concepts that later made him one of the most influential psychologists in history were developed during these sessions of deep concentration. The tower was not merely a building, it was a defense system, a fortress protecting his attention. Because Jung understood something most people still ignore today. Focus is not simply a matter of willpower, it is a matter of environment. Place a person in a room full of distractions and concentration becomes difficult. Place that same person in an environment designed for focus and concentration becomes far easier. The modern world teaches us to rely on discipline alone, but Jung's example teaches a different lesson. Design beats willpower, environment beats motivation, and attention grows where distractions disappear. The truth is simple. You don't rise above your environment, you become a product of it. The quality of your surroundings eventually becomes the quality of your thinking. And if you want deeper thoughts, you must first create a place where deep thinking can survive. Lesson. Great focus is rarely the result of extraordinary willpower. It is usually the result of an environment designed for concentration. The fewer distractions around you, the less energy you waste resisting them. If distraction is always available, focus becomes difficult. If focus is protected, deep thinking becomes possible. Task. Look around your current workspace. Write down the 3 biggest distractions you see. Examples: phone on your desk, social media tabs left open, constant notifications, television running in the background. Be honest. Identify what steals your attention most often. Challenge. Before your next work session, remove one major distraction completely. Put your phone in another room. Close unnecessary tabs. Turn off notifications. Then spend 45 minutes working on a single task. No multitasking, no interruptions. Afterward, ask yourself, did the work feel easier? Did you make more progress? Did you think more clearly? You may be surprised by the answer. Carl Jung protected his attention by escaping to a stone tower. But what if you're running one of the biggest companies in the world? What if thousands of people need your decisions every day? Would deep work still matter? As it turns out, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in history believed it mattered so much that he would disappear for an entire week just to think. His name was Bill Gates. Chapter 3. Bill Gates disappeared on purpose. During the growth of Microsoft, one practice became legendary. Several times each year, Bill Gates would disappear. No meetings, no interruptions, no office politics, no daily responsibilities. He called these retreats Think Weeks. For an entire week, Gates would isolate himself with books, reports, ideas, and notes. He would read, think, reflect, and explore future possibilities. Some of Microsoft's most important strategic decisions emerged from these periods of uninterrupted thought. Think about that. One of the busiest people in the world deliberately stopped being busy because he understood something powerful. Busyness and productivity are not the same thing. Sometimes doing less creates more. Sometimes stepping away creates clarity. Sometimes slowing down creates breakthroughs. Deep work isn't about working harder. It's about thinking better. Lesson. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Many breakthroughs happen when we stop reacting and start thinking. Reflection is a productivity tool. Task: schedule 30 minutes this week for uninterrupted thinking. No phone, no music, no notifications. Just a notebook and your thoughts. Challenge. Write down one problem you've been avoiding. Use your thinking session to generate at least 5 possible solutions. Chapter 4. The myth of multitasking. Most people believe they can multitask. Science says otherwise. Imagine trying to read a book while someone changes the television channel every 30 seconds. Frustrating, isn't it? That's essentially what multitasking does to your brain. Every time your attention shifts, your concentration is interrupted. Every switch consumes mental energy. Every interruption creates friction. Every distraction forces your brain to reload information. Eventually, mental fatigue appears. The quality of thinking declines. Researchers have found that every time we switch tasks, the brain pays a hidden cost. It takes time to reorient itself, to remember where it left off, to rebuild concentration. The switch may take only seconds, but repeated dozens of times throughout the day, those seconds become hours of lost productivity. This is why a focused hour often produces more value than an entire day of fragmented work. Think about how many times you've sat down to do something important. You open your laptop, you begin working, then a notification appears, you check it. A few minutes later, another message arrives, then an email, then social media, then another notification. An hour passes, and somehow the important work still isn't finished. Most people assume they need more time. What they actually need is more focus. Elite performers understand this. Professional athletes don't train while checking notifications. Surgeons don't perform operations while scrolling social media. Chess grandmasters don't analyze games while answering messages. Pilots don't land airplanes while browsing the internet. The highest levels of performance demand complete attention. Excellence requires concentration, and concentration requires sacrifice. You must be willing to ignore less important things to accomplish something important. You must be willing to choose depth over distraction, focus over fragmentation, mastery over busyness. The truth is simple. You can do many things at once, or you can do one thing exceptionally well. History suggests that the second option wins. Lesson: multitasking feels productive, but it often reduces performance. Every task switch comes with a hidden cognitive cost. The brain performs best when attention is directed toward a single objective. The more fragmented your attention becomes, the lower the quality of your work. Task: choose one important task today. Set a timer for 45 minutes. During that time, no phone, no social media, no email, no task switching. Work on one thing and one thing only. Then compare your progress to a normal work session. Challenge for your next work session: close every unnecessary tab. Silence every notification. Put your phone out of reach. Then spend 1 full hour focused on a single task. No interruptions, no multitasking, no excuses. At the end of the session, ask yourself, did you accomplish more than usual? Did the work feel easier? Did you think more clearly? You may discover that productivity is not about doing more things. It's about giving your full attention to the things that matter most. But if multitasking is so destructive, why do so many people still struggle to focus? The answer lies deeper than notifications and distractions. Because the modern world rewards shallow activity, and that creates a dangerous illusion, the illusion that being busy is the same as being productive. In the next chapter, we'll discover why deep work has become one of the most valuable economic skills of the modern age. Chapter 5. The Economic Superpower. Imagine two people. Both have the same intelligence, the same education, the same opportunities, the same resources. One spends 4 hours each day in uninterrupted concentration. The other spends those same 4 hours switching between apps, messages, emails, and distractions. Who wins after 5 years? The answer is obvious. The focused person learns faster, builds skills faster, produces better work, and compounds advantages over time. The gap starts small, almost invisible, but day after day, month after month, year after year, the difference grows. Because success is often the result of tiny advantages repeated consistently. This is why deep work has become an economic superpower. The modern economy rewards people who can master difficult things quickly and create valuable things consistently. Deep work improves both abilities. But don't just take Cal Newport's word for it. Psychologist K. Anders Ericsson spent decades studying elite performers, musicians, athletes, chess masters, scientists. He wanted to understand why some people achieved extraordinary results while others remained average. What he discovered surprised many researchers. The best performers did not simply practice more. They practiced differently. They engaged in what he called deliberate practice. Highly focused training designed to push their abilities beyond their current limits. This type of practice requires intense concentration, not multitasking, not distraction, not mindless repetition. Deep work creates the exact conditions that deliberate practice requires, which is why focused individuals improve so much faster than everyone else. Think about a software engineer learning artificial intelligence. One person studies for 2 hours every day with complete focus. No notifications, no distractions, no interruptions. Another studies while checking messages, scrolling social media, responding to emails, switching between tabs. Both spend the same amount of time. But after a year, their results look completely different. One develops expertise, the other develops familiarity. One builds valuable skills, the other collects scattered information. Because attention determines the quality of learning, and the quality of learning determines the quality of your future. In a world filled with distraction, focus becomes a competitive advantage. And in the future, that advantage may be worth more than talent alone. The more rare focus becomes, the more valuable it becomes. Lesson: the future belongs to people who can learn difficult things quickly and create valuable work consistently. Deep work accelerates both. Focus is not merely a productivity tool, It is a career advantage, a learning advantage, and ultimately a life advantage. Identify one skill that could significantly improve your future. It might be writing coding, public speaking, sales, marketing, design, leadership. Write it down. Then ask yourself, what would happen if I practice this skill with complete focus for 1 hour every day? Challenge. Spend 1 uninterrupted hour this week practicing that skill. No phone, no social media, no email, no multitasking, just deliberate practice. At the end of the hour, write down what you learned, what improved, what challenged you. Then repeat the exercise next week, because mastery is not built through occasional effort. It is built through focused repetition. But knowing that focus is valuable isn't enough. Most people already know distractions are hurting them. Most people already know concentration matters. The real question is, how do you actually build a life centered around deep work? Fortunately, Cal Newport offers a practical answer. Not one rule, not two, but 4 powerful principles that can transform the way you work, learn, and live. Let's explore them. Chapter 6. The 4 Rules of Deep Work. By now, the value of deep work should be clear. The ability to focus is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. But understanding the idea is not enough. The real question is, how do you actually build a life centered around deep work? Cal Newport's answer comes in the form of 4 powerful rules, simple in theory, transformative in practice. Rule 1. Work deeply. Success does not come from random focus. It comes from ritualized focus. The world's top performers don't wait until they feel motivated. They create systems, they establish routines, they remove decisions, and they make focus automatic. Choose a time, choose a place, choose a duration. Train your brain to enter deep work automatically. The same way athletes train their bodies. The more consistent the ritual, the easier concentration becomes. Because discipline is easier when it becomes a habit, not a decision. Rule 2. Embrace boredom. This idea sounds strange, but boredom is important. Why? Because every time you instantly reach for stimulation, you weaken your ability to focus. Modern people have forgotten how to be bored. Waiting in line, phone, elevator, phone, 5 free minutes, phone, a red light, phone, a quiet moment, phone. As a result, the brain never practices sustained attention. It becomes conditioned to expect constant stimulation. And when it's time to focus on something difficult, the mind rebels. It wants novelty. It wants entertainment. It wants distraction. Learn to sit with boredom. Let your mind wander. Resist the urge to reach for a screen, because boredom is not the enemy of focus. It is the training ground for focus. But here's the surprising part. Most people fail at deep work before they even begin. Not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, because they have unknowingly built lives designed for distraction. And that's exactly what the next 2 rules are designed to fix. Rule 3. Quit social media selectively. Newport doesn't argue that every social platform is evil. Instead, he asks a better question. Does this tool significantly improve your life? If not, why is it consuming your attention? Imagine someone offered to take 10 years of your life, not all at once, just a few minutes at a time, every day. Most people would refuse, yet many willingly sacrifice thousands of hours to tools that add little value to their lives. Attention is a currency. Spend it carefully. Every tool has a cost. The cost is your time, your energy, your concentration, and ultimately, your future. Before adopting any tool, ask yourself, does the value I receive justify the attention I give away? If the answer is no, the choice becomes obvious. Rule 4. Drain the shallows. Most people spend their lives drowning in shallow work. Emails, meetings, notifications, administrative tasks, status updates, endless busy work. These activities feel productive, but often create little value. They keep us occupied, but rarely move us forward. Deep work creates value. Shallow work consumes time. The goal is not to eliminate shallow work completely. That's impossible. The goal is to minimize it, reduce it whenever possible, batch it together, set boundaries around it, and protect your best hours for meaningful work. Because your highest value activities deserve your highest quality attention. The people who produce extraordinary work are rarely the busiest. They are the most intentional. They understand that every yes to distraction is a no to something more important, and they guard their attention accordingly. Lesson: focus is not accidental. It is the result of systems, habits, and intentional choices. Deep work is not something you occasionally do. It is something you deliberately design your life around. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your results. Task: write down your top 3 daily distractions. Rank them from most damaging to least damaging. Then answer these questions. Which distraction steals the most time? Which distraction hurts your focus the most? Which distraction would create the biggest improvement if removed? Be honest. Awareness is the first step toward change. Challenge: eliminate your number one distraction for the next 7 days. Not forever, just 7 days. Observe what happens. Track your productivity, your focus, your energy, your progress. At the end of the week, ask yourself, did removing that distraction improve your life? The answer may surprise you. The 4 rules provide a powerful framework, but understanding the rules is only the beginning. Knowledge without action changes nothing. The real challenge is turning these ideas into daily behavior. So how do you train your brain to focus in a world designed to distract you? That's exactly what we'll explore next. Because focus is not a talent, it's a skill. And like every skill, it can be trained. Chapter 7. Training the focus muscle. Here's the good news. Focus is not a talent, it's a skill. And skills can be trained. Think of concentration like a muscle. If you never use it, it becomes weak. If you train it consistently, it becomes stronger. Most people assume highly focused individuals were born that way. They weren't. They developed their concentration the same way athletes develop strength, through repetition, through discipline, through training. Neuroscientists have discovered that the brain changes in response to repeated behavior. The more often you focus deeply, the stronger the neural pathways associated with concentration become. In other words, every focused session is a workout for your attention, and every distraction is a missed training opportunity. This means your ability to focus tomorrow depends largely on how you train your attention today. Start with 30 minutes. No phone, no internet, no distractions. Just one task, one objective, one focus. Protect that time. Treat it like an important appointment, because it is. When 30 minutes becomes easy, increase to 45, then 60, then 90. Gradually push your limits. The same way a runner increases distance, the same way a weightlifter increases resistance. The goal is not perfection, the goal is progress. Eventually, your mind adapts. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once felt exhausting becomes manageable. And what once seemed beyond your reach becomes a habit. But there is something important you should know. At first, deep work feels uncomfortable. Your mind wants stimulation. It wants novelty. It wants distraction. You may feel restless, impatient, even bored. That's normal. The discomfort is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that your focus muscle is growing stronger. Every minute you resist distraction is a repetition. Every focus session is training. And just like physical training, the results are often invisible at first. Every successful effort makes the next one easier. This is how deep work develops. Not overnight, not through motivation alone, but through deliberate practice, day after day, session after session, until what once required effort becomes your default way of working. Until concentration becomes part of who you are. Most people never realize how powerful their minds can become. Not because they lack potential, but because they never train their attention long enough to discover it. The ability to focus is already inside you. It simply needs practice. Lesson focus works like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Every distraction weakens concentration. Every deep work session strengthens it. Small daily improvements eventually create extraordinary results. Task complete one uninterrupted 60-minute deep work session. Choose one meaningful task, remove distractions, set a timer, work with complete concentration. When you're finished, write down how focused you felt, what you accomplished, what distracted you, how you felt afterward. Observe the difference between deep work and your normal routine. Challenge: repeat this exercise for 7 consecutive days. Track your progress. Notice whether focus becomes easier, distractions become less tempting, productivity increases, mental clarity improves. At the end of the week, compare day 1 to day 7. You may discover that your ability to concentrate is far greater than you ever imagined. By now, one thing should be clear. Deep work is not a productivity hack. It is a philosophy of attention, a way of living in a distracted world. But before we finish, there is one final lesson from Cal Newport that ties everything together. A lesson that may determine whether these ideas remain inspiration or become transformation. Let's explore the final principle. Chapter 8. The Deep Work System. By now, the benefits of deep work should be clear. The question is no longer why it matters. The question is how to make it part of your life. Fortunately, the process is simpler than most people think. At this point, deep work may sound complicated. It isn't. The principles are simple. The difficulty comes from consistency. Most people know what they should do. Very few people do it repeatedly. So let's make this practical. Imagine tomorrow morning, you sit down to work, no confusion, no decision fatigue, no distractions, just a simple system. Step 1, choose one important task, not 5, not 3, 1. The task that would make the biggest difference if completed today. The task that actually matters. Step 2, remove every distraction, phone away, tabs closed, notifications off, email closed, social media blocked. Create an environment where focus can survive. Step 3, set a 90-minute timer. For the next 90 minutes, your only job is to work. Nothing else exists. No messages, no updates, no interruptions, just the task. Step 4, work on nothing else. No checking notifications, no browsing, no multitasking, no switching between projects. Give your full attention to a single objective. This is where deep work begins. Step 5, take a short break. Walk, stretch, hydrate, let your mind recover. Then repeat the process if necessary. That's it. Simple, but incredibly powerful. Most people never do this, which is exactly why it works. The difference between average performers and exceptional performers is often smaller than we imagine. It is not always intelligence. It is not always talent. It is not always opportunity. Often, it is simply the ability to focus on one important thing for longer than everyone else. A single deep work session may not change your life, but hundreds of deep work sessions can. One session builds momentum. 10 sessions build discipline. 100 sessions build mastery. Because every session is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every focused hour strengthens your skills. Every distraction resisted strengthens your discipline. Every deep work session moves you closer to the future you want. The remarkable results people admire are often built one focused session at a time. Lesson: extraordinary results are usually the outcome of ordinary actions repeated consistently. Deep work is not an event. It is a process, a system, a habit. The people who achieve exceptional results are rarely doing something magical. They are simply protecting their attention and using it wisely. Task: create your own deep work schedule for next week. Choose specific days. Choose specific times. Decide in advance what task you will work on, where you will work, how long you will focus. Write it down. A plan dramatically increases the likelihood of execution. Challenge: complete 3 90-minute deep work sessions within the next 7 days. During each session, no phone, no social media, no email, no multitasking. Track your results. Notice how much progress you make when your attention is fully engaged. At the end of the week, ask yourself, what could happen if this became a permanent habit? We've explored the science of attention, the danger of distraction, the power of deep work, and the practical system for applying it. Now it's time for the final lesson, a lesson that may be the most important of all. Because deep work is not ultimately about productivity. It's about how you choose to spend your life. Let's conclude. Final chapter. The future belongs to the focused. 100 years ago, physical labor created wealth. Today, knowledge creates wealth. And knowledge work depends on attention. Attention is now one of the world's most valuable resources. Companies compete for it. Apps compete for it. Advertisers compete for it. Algorithms compete for it. Every day they fight for ownership of your mind. The question is simple. Will you let them win, or will you take your attention back? Because your attention determines your actions. Your actions determine your habits. Your habits determine your future. And your future is built one focused hour at a time. 5 years from now, you will become the result of what repeatedly receives your attention. Every hour spent learning, building, creating, improving will compound, just as every hour lost to distraction will compound. The choice is being made every day. Deep work is not just a productivity system. It's a philosophy, a rebellion against distraction, a commitment to excellence, a decision to create rather than consume. And in a world full of noise, the ability to think deeply may become the ultimate competitive advantage. The people who shape the future will not necessarily be the smartest, or the most talented, or the most fortunate. They will be the people who can focus when everyone else is distracted. The people who can create while others consume. The people who can build while others scroll. The people who can think while others react. Because focus is no longer ordinary. Focus is becoming rare, and rare things become valuable. Lesson. Your attention is your most valuable asset. What you focus on today shapes who you become tomorrow. Protect your attention, and you protect your future. Task. Write down one goal that matters deeply to you. Then identify the single most important activity that will move you closer to it. Ask yourself, what would happen if I focused on this consistently for the next year? Challenge. Immediately schedule your first 90-minute deep work session. Take action before this video ends. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because knowledge changes nothing, action changes everything. Final challenge, pause this video. Open your calendar. Schedule one 90-minute deep work session. Today, not someday. Today. Because every great achievement begins with focused attention. And the life you want is waiting on the other side of distraction. If this video helped you, subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most powerful books on productivity, psychology, wealth, leadership, and self-mastery. And remember, the distracted consume, the focused create, the distracted react, the focused build, the distracted follow the noise, the focused shape the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.